My wife is crying tears of joy over our miracle baby, but she has no idea I secretly got a vasectomy. The vasectomy happened 7 years ago after my college girlfriend's pregnancy scare turned me into someone who couldn't eat or sleep for 3 weeks. Finally, she called crying with relief about her period arriving, and I swore I would never feel that helpless terror again. When I met Jennifer 4 years later and watched her eyes light up talking about the big family she dreamed of having, I should have told her the truth right then. Instead, I heard myself saying, me too, because I was already in love with everything about her. After our wedding night, Jennifer held up her birth control pills and said, "We won't be needing these anymore," with such pure happiness that I had to turn away, pretending to unpack while she started taking prenatal vitamins. Every negative test triggered the same devastating routine. She would come out of the bathroom with red eyes saying, "Maybe next month," and I would hold her and whisper, "It'll happen when it's meant to," while my stomach churned, knowing it would never happen at all. There's something wrong with me. Jennifer was devastated after her sister announced her 3rd pregnancy. I found her on our bathroom floor holding another negative test. "There's nothing wrong with you," I told her over and over, the guilt eating me alive while she listed every friend and relative who got pregnant without trying and asked what she had done to deserve this punishment from the universe. 3 weeks ago, Jennifer burst into my home office with tears streaming down her face screaming, "Look, it's positive. It's finally positive." My brain completely short-circuited because vasectomies have a failure rate of less than 1%, and mine was checked twice. The impossible baby grew inside her while I stayed awake every night running through calendars and timelines and trying to remember if there was any moment where something could have gone wrong, but knowing deep down that nothing had. Then I remembered my twin brother Nathan staying with us for 5 days back in February when I was at a work retreat. Jennifer had said, "Your brother was so sweet keeping me company during another disappointing month." Surely Jennifer would never betray me like that though, especially with someone who shares my exact face. Jennifer started a blog writing daily letters to our miracle baby, including one that said, "Daddy cried when we found out about you," which shows how much he wanted you, and reading that made me leave the house to sit in my car for an hour. At the 20-week scan when the doctor said the baby had bilateral clubfoot, Jennifer squeezed my hand and whispered, "We can handle anything after what we've been through," while I stared at the screen, remembering Nathan's baby pictures with casts on both feet. Nathan called that night to check on Jennifer, and when I mentioned the clubfoot diagnosis, his silence stretched so long I could hear his breathing change before he finally said, "That must be really scary for you both," in a voice I had never heard from my twin brother before. Jennifer started researching clubfoot obsessively and discovered that identical twins have an extremely high concordance rate, meaning if one twin had it, the other almost certainly would too. She asked me 3 times if I was absolutely sure I never had any foot problems as a baby, while her eyes searched my face for something she didn't want to find. "It's so strange that Nathan had to have 3 surgeries on his feet, but you didn't when you're identical twins," she said last night while organizing baby clothes, refusing to look directly at me no matter how many times I tried to catch her eye. This morning at breakfast, she stared at me across the table and said, "I scheduled a genetic counseling appointment for us because I need to understand how this happened," and her voice had this forced casual tone that made my coffee taste like metal. Nathan texted me asking if we needed anything for the baby, and Jennifer grabbed my phone and replied, "Please stop contacting us," before deleting the entire thread, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold the phone. At lunch, she pushed her food around before saying, "I need you to be completely honest with me about something. Did you ever actually want children?" When I froze, she continued with tears in her eyes, "You looked like you wanted to jump off a bridge every single time I showed you an ovulation test for 4 years, and I pretended not to notice. I told myself it was just stress." The confession about the vasectomy poured out while I watched her face crumble and rebuild itself into something I had never seen before. She stood up slowly and said, "You let me think I was broken. You held me while I sobbed about my useless body, and you knew the whole time. You knew what you did." She pressed both hands against her belly and said in a tiny voice, "I've been terrified to tell you that I know this baby isn't yours, but I guess you've known it all along. The genetic counselor appointment is tomorrow, and Nathan will be there too because Jennifer said we might as well all be in the same room when the truth finally destroys what's left of our family."